If you can all roll initiative for me, please.
Of course.
Classic Rorgar.
It's okay. There's a 0 there, so you're not the last one.
It just gives me time to think.
All right, so let me describe what this is first. So after the lights, the bright points of light inside of this ice column grew brighter, you hear what sounds like the scraping of almost like a knife or something across stone all around you. And immediately in this large chamber that you're in, you see coming out of these small piles in the corner. It was hard to tell what they were because they're kind of covered in snow, but 2 skeletons emerge from the piles. One is here, and the other one is here. And the skeletons, although they're labeled elf skeletons, there's no way to know. They don't have pointed bony ears or anything. But they're also not carrying or wearing anything. They're strictly skeletons. But they emerge from this pile under the snow, form together, and just start to shamble forward.
They shamble with a more elegant fashion than a human skeleton would.
There you go. It's a graceful shamble.
There's no rattling of the bones. They're dignified skeletons.
Takes us to you, Laja.
I need to double check what I prepared. Okay, yeah, I clicked that. I guess I will use Aura of Life. You know,
Okay.
that is something useful anyway. So I will do that, and I will move up here. That way we have a little bit of room for people to move and, navigate around.
As you begin to move up, past Guardian, and you utter the words of your prayer to summon this aura of life using the power of Lathander, the light begins to swell inside of you. Your shield, your holy symbol begins to glow. And then as it's starting to glow brighter and the effects of the spell are starting to take hold, inside the block of ice, this skeleton, or the skull that's starting to float, says something very quickly in arcane words, and it's just counterspelled your aura of life.
Okay, I'll just remove that from
Guardian, you
little
remember this is one of your memories that's coming back to you. This thing which has been identified by Valen before she died as Kislar. Kislar was going to be crown prince, who murdered his father, the king, and set into motion the extinction of all of your people. He was a renowned wizard, which for your people is actually saying something, because the wizards of Ythryn were very legendary. But this guy was considered one of the best wizards in all of the kingdom, and he has just casually broken down the sorcery of Laja's spell. Which I guess takes us to you, Guardian.
And where is he hiding right now?
It looks like he's in the center of this ginormous pillar of ice in the center of the room.
And he hasn't reacted to me, though.
No, I mean, his eyes are glowing inside of the ice, and there's a crack forming in it, but he is so far unmoving. But he has, obviously, the ability to do stuff because he just counterspelled Laja's prayer.
Okay, well, I'm going to go into a rage. And I'm going to look past Laja as I quickly zip over to the skeleton. And I'm going to beat the shit out of it with a Maul Strike.
Okay.
Yeah. Not a reckless one, though.
A 12.
Oh. 12, well, I have 2 attacks, so.
Okay, so the first one will miss.
Second one will hit, though?
Yeah, second one. Those elvish
Raid.
skeletons aren't that good.
12 damage.
12 damage. Okay. So as you strike him with your maul, the bones just shatter as you strike it. And actually, they kind of turn to dust and fall to the ground. You've completely destroyed that one.
I just look back at the throne.
It's hard to really see the details of what, is on the throne because of the ice being so thick. But you do remember some things about this place that are coming back to you. The throne was where the king actually sat and, where he did all of his king stuff. What you don't remember about this room were all the runes on the ground that seem to have encircled the throne. You definitely don't remember a giant block of ice.
Okay. I think in the rage right now, Guardians is more focused on hitting whatever is going to be a threat.
Sure. So I believe that moves us to the next turn. So the one remaining skeleton here very gracefully shambles up to the block of ice, crossing over that circle of runes that I described before. And that's what it does. Onward to Ythryn.
Virion is gonna pull out his bow and take a shot at this skeleton.
An 18 will hit.
All right. And we'll knock another arrow and take another shot at him.
A 14 will also hit.
12 damage. And my penguins, of course, will jump out on that second arrow hit and peck away at the bones, trying to get something good for a stew.
And that's just enough. The penguins manage to take down the little skeleton.
Yes.
I believe that takes us to you, Rorgar, unless you wanted to move any Ythryn.
No, I think I'm going to stay put for now.
Okay.
I am of two minds here. I do want to stay close to my allies to give them any bonus that I can, but I also feel like that skeleton's move towards the ice kind of told us something, so maybe we need to make sure that these skeletons don't start attacking the ice. So I think Rorgar is going to just use his movement to move forward. So far. To there, and then he'll hold his action to attack anything that gets close.
Okay. So moving on. The skull inside of the block of ice, the eyes grow brighter. You notice that one singular crack grows larger and larger. Begins to grow. But moving back to the top of the next round.
Where is the crack?
It's like right there. I think that's where I put Valen before I killed her.
Okay.
On turn 20, what happens is two more skeletons rise up out of the snow. Don't know if you saw them, but they're in the top and then the bottom right corners. But moving on to you, Laja.
I'm trying to think of what will be most useful. Let me see how far away that is. Okay. I want to verify that I'm in range now. I'm not, so I'm going to move one more. And then I am going to use my lovely Sacred Flame on that skeleton dude.
And he saves.
So that's nothing. That's okay. I'm feeling a little bit off kilter from, the previous thing not working. So Elijah's a little bit just nervous in general. That's why that didn't work.
Oh, it's a save for 0 damage. Dang, I thought it was
Yep.
save for half. Yikes. Okay.
That's okay.
It is a cantrip.
That's true. I think we move on to you, Guardian.
My memories of this individual. You said that he was a powerful caster and stuff like that. Are there any identifying things on these skeleton piles, like jewelry or I don't know, emblems or anything like that on them?
Not that you can see. There's a thin layer of snow just on the ground anyway in this room, and the skeletal piles are under piles of snow as well. So maybe there's stuff, if you dug through the snow, you might be able to find something. But as the skeletons are emerging from the snow, they don't have anything on them. They're not wearing any, gems or clothing that's in tatters, none of that. It's just strictly bones.
Did the skeleton make a brrr as I whacked it, or was it more just ambivalent?
It was completely ambivalent. It didn't even turn to look at you when you were coming at it.
Where was it looking?
Right at the pillar.
And the runes here, they're not Elvish, are they?
They don't look like they're Elvish. They're something that in some sort of language or script that you are unfamiliar with.
So in Guardian's mind, would it not be unreasonable to assume that someone here had to have put that down relatively quickly after what transpired way back when? It might have been an elf that was proficient in magic as well to do this because, or at least someone inside the kingdom, to react as quickly. Could I try to recall who could that be?
There could have been any number of wizards that could have done this. Your recollections of that day are in fragments. You can remember going to the coronation, going a little late, and you remember showing up just as the king was about to hand over his ceremonial sword to Kislar to become, to take his place. And as he did that, the sword actually reacted. And the sword only really does that when it's in the presence of evil, particularly undead evil. And as you're recalling that, you look over to Ythryn, and the sword that he's carrying for the very first time, you recognize where that's from. This is the king's sword. This is the king of Ythryn's weapon. And it identified Kislar. And you walked into the throne room in your past life just as Kislar cast some sort of spell that completely destroyed the king and set into motion basically a whole range of magical combat in this room. You raced out, though, to try to get reinforcements. But as to who might have laid this circle at the time in the throne room, there were a bunch of wizards that could have done it.
Is the sword reacting currently?
It's buzzing very, very loudly. Yeah, the Moonblade, yeah. The Moonblade, the sword that's called Era that Ythryn picked up a long time ago in the elf tomb near Lonelywood.
Ythryn just hold out the sword and just kind of just show everyone that it's vibrating and humming very loudly.
Is this supposed to do that?
When bad things are about to happen, usually.
It kind of already looks bad.
It's gonna get a whole lot worse, I think.
Great.
Yes, I'm really not sure what to do on my turn here.
Go hit something.
Too far away. You know what? I'm curious about this bone pile. I'm going to try and dig it out.
So I'm going to leave this to you to tell us a little bit more about Guardian's past. Was there anyone that Guardian was very close to, like a brother or sister? And this could have been whatever your original, like Guardian's original person, elf person. Was there anyone he was close to?
The people of his company, his squad, people he looked after, he treated them like brothers and sisters.
Then as you're digging through the snow, you dig up a crest that all of the guards wore. It was probably like a golden, probably, actually no, it was a silver emblem of Saloon, the moon goddess, but also with an extra rune on the bottom to designate this elvish house or the elvish royal family. But all of the guards carried it. And as you're digging through the snow, you pull up this crest and you recognize this was one of the guardsmen who was probably guarding the room. And the attacks from Kislar came so quickly that it killed many of them before they could even react.
Okay. Yep, guards just going to be looking at that emblem, just quietly looking at it.
And for the next turn, both of the elvish skeletons, what they do is they move their full movement inside the circle. And we move on to Virion.
I too am very confused about what these skeletons are gonna do. I feel like uh, where's the yeah. I guess Virion's just gonna keep taking shots at these skeletons until we can figure out what's going on with the throne and the ice there. So yeah, taking 2 shots at that skeleton.
Okay, I was going to say that one you have line of sight on, the other you have to move a little.
Yeah.
A 20 will hit.
For 11 damage.
A crit 28 will certainly hit.
All right. For 10 damage plus have the penguins finish him off either way. With a very violent bite at the ribs of the skeleton here.
So your first shot takes the head off the skeleton, but it continues to shamble forward, and then your second shot combined with the penguins just reduce it to dust as it falls to the ground. Before the pieces of bone even touch the ice, they just disappear.
Nice. And then Virion's gonna move just close to the ice here, not touching it, just getting close to kind of get a better look at everything that's going on in there.
Okay. I believe that takes us to Rorgar.
I'm in the same boat as Guardian.
You guys got to hit something eventually.
So Rorgar's going to spend his action and movement just to run 60 feet the other way around the rock, trying to stay on the other side of the strange text, but also trying to gain a line of sight on that other skeleton.
Okay. So what happens next is a cold wind kind of picks up in the room, and you can't really even tell where it's coming from. And as the wind blows in, a mist, or it's like a fog of green, light green, also follows it and begins to cover the ground to the point to where you really can hardly even see your feet. But the wind, it's not enough to cause disadvantage or anything like the blizzards that you've been in before, Virion. But all of you feel the cold even further down, like through your furs and stuff. You feel the cold even more. And as this happens, the green eyes of the skull glow even brighter. That crack in the ice grows even more. And something happens very quickly. So the one skeleton that's inside the circle glows green briefly and just collapses or just disintegrates into dust. And Virion, as you are standing on or inside the circle, I need you to roll a con saving throw for me, please.
Ooh, good. Oh no.
Unless you wanted to use your inspiration.
I think I am going to use that inspiration right there. Ooh.
It's unfortunately not enough. You take 20 points of necrotic damage as
Wow.
a green glow envelops you and is drawn into that crack, into the pillar in the center, very similar to what happened to Valen. And you feel this cold all the way down into your bones, and you actually feel it harder to breathe. Your vision blurs a bit, and you just feel ultimately weaker as this green glow is pulled out from you into the skull in the center of the room.
That aura of life really would have helped there.
It happens.
And at the top of the next round, more skeletons emerge. So there's 3 total. There's one down from you, Rorgar. There's one all the way across in the top right of the room. And then there's one that you see appearing from a pile of bones just past the doors leading outside of this room to that room with a large table you were in before. But it takes us to you, Laja.
Are the skeletons coming from the pile of bones?
Yeah, some come from the pile of bones. The skeleton that came in the room behind you looks like it might have assembled from bones that were underneath the table.
Okay, I will go up to Virion and I will give him a little pat on the back for a first level cure wounds.
I will take it. Just kind of catch my breath and thank Lasha very much for the...
I'm going to move back.
Yeah,
just out of
good
the
call.
way. That's all I can do.
Before we move on to Guardian, Laja, I think with the highest wisdom score, you would think about this, that this thing that you are fighting, you're in the midst of whatever sort of ritual that Valen foolishly activated, is not actually what brought you here, or it's not actually in your goals as a group, what you're trying to accomplish. This isn't Oral, the Frost Maiden. You came here to get the Codice of the White, the book, to go to Oral to help fight her. And you're just thinking, it's just a brief thought that crosses your mind. You could run back through these doors and leave everyone behind if you wanted to.
I mean, I could, but also I would not do that. And everybody seems to be pretty, concentrating on getting out of here and dealing with what is here. So I'm going to let this go how it decides to go. Whether or not that's a good choice, we will see.
Not to try to encourage Laja to take a course of action at all. I just thought it would be one of those little thoughts that pass through your mind.
Oh no, certainly. And I'm saying I have a reasoning as to why I'm not doing the smart thing,
I was
which would
thinking
be to
back
tell everybody to leave.
the mind flare encounter where Laja absolutely noped out of that room. But onward to you, Guardian.
Man. And the skeletons haven't attacked us?
I'm sorry?
The skeletons haven't attacked us?
No, they haven't. So far, the only thing the skeletons have done is just come to life and walk mindlessly towards the center of the room.
Hmm. I still... And I don't know anything about magic, so I can't even make an Arcana check.
Well, if you tell me what you might be going for or trying to recall, I could probably come up with some sort of check for you to roll.
Try to see if there was any... I guess it could also be based off of his training and stuff like that. There, like routines and scenarios. Would he be aware of anything of like a containment type spell that the wizards would use against powerful magical entities? Like, what would that entail? Like, just trying to recall, like, if there's anything like that.
Yeah, why not? Why don't you do an Arcana check for me?
Woo!
Unfortunately, with a 7, you can't recall either. It might have been something that, like, in your past life you knew nothing about, or something that you just can't recall, but you have no idea what this is.
You know what? I'm gonna be dumb. I'm gonna use an inspiration.
Okay.
Fuck you, dice.
Even inspired, you don't know what this is.
Oh man. All right. Well.
Guardian's thinking really hard, and it's just like all fog.
Well, the thing is like these are elvish skeletons, and clearly hinting at that they're former company members too. So like he's hesitant because he's trying to parse through like what does that mean for him. So it's causing him to pause a lot. Yeah, that's my turn.
All right. I will say, because you did not attack last round or this round, that you would have lost your rage, though.
Yeah, that's fine. I got 4 rage. It's fine.
Cool. Okay, so moving to the skeleton's turn. The skeletons do what the skeletons have been doing, and they all gracefully shamble across the room, one going just right past you, Elijah, and coming to rest beside you, Virion. Another one that's, goes past you, Wargar, again, not paying any attention to you at all, crossing the threshold of the circle of runes close to the pillar of ice. And then across the room, which probably only you, Wargar, can get a sense of, the last skeleton also does the same thing, crossing over the threshold of this circle of runes right next to the pillar. And we go to you, Virion.
Skeletons are just standing there. They're not doing anything.
They're not doing anything. They're just standing there kind of shambling a little.
Okay. Virian's gonna take out, or yeah, pull out the Moonblade again, and I don't know what kind of nonsense I want to get into here. Virian's gonna take a swing at the one skeleton beside him with the Moonblade.
Okay. 15 will hit. 13 is enough to take out the skeleton entirely.
All right, perfect. And then part of me wants if I put okay, we're gonna try something, and this might blow up in my face, but it's the only thing running through my head. Virian's gonna take out the Moonblade and kind of touch it to the ice that's covering everything here.
So the ice on the ground or the pillar of ice?
The pillar of ice.
Okay. As the Moonblade goes to touch the ice, it scratches off a portion, and a big chunk just kind of falls to the ground and like cracks into a bunch of pieces and immediately disappears in this like layer of fog that's on the ground.
Okay. Well, with that, I'm gonna take a couple steps back, and that'll wrap up my turn.
And we move on to Rorgar.
Finally, with the target in sight, Rorgar will move towards this nearest skeleton and make 2 attacks against it with his battle axe.
Okay.
Evil creature, I am going to send you back to the hell that you came from.
Uh, 22 will hit. So will a 17. Rorgar holds true to his word and destroys the skeleton. As your battle axe hits it again for the second time, it does like it's done before, the other skeletons have done at least, and it just disintegrates into a cloud of dust.
I like to think that Rorgar first swipes low, separating the hip bone from the spinal cord, and then his return strike separates the head from the neck. And then Rorgar will spend the remaining 20 feet of his movement to go 5, 10, 20 to there.
Okay. So a lot happens here on turn 0. The skeleton that you guys didn't reach has a fate much like the other that was inside the circle before. It is consumed by this this green glow. We're all green in this place. A green glow, and as it's consumed by the glow, it just collapses into dust, much the way that Valen did. And this green is pulled into the pillar, and as it's pulled into the pillar, the cracks, the large crack that was making its way through the pillar, breaks and shards off all across it, and the ice totally just splits apart. And as it splits apart, it reveals this ancient throne. And this throne is probably 9 or 10 feet tall if you go from the very bottom of the floor to the top of the chair. And it's ornately constructed out of a material that you can't really discern. But all around the throne, now that the ice has fallen away, you see piles and piles of bones. It's hard to make out the number of corpses because the bones are just scattered in all different directions. But as your eyes go up past the piles of bones, you see the throne itself, which is carved in all sorts of designs or intricate designs of trees and forests, and also like a very strong moon motif. And the top of the throne itself has a bright moonstone. But all of that looks cool. But what you probably have really focused on is the skull, which is seated actually on the throne itself and begins to slowly rise off of the throne. And its eyes are the eyes that you saw inside of the pillar. Excuse me. And the eyes are glowing a bright green. and as the skull rises up from the like the cushion of the throne, you all get a sense of just true dread from this thing. But it takes us to you, Laja.
Before Elijah goes, just so I'm clear, the ice is still solid. We just see this moving within the ice.
The ice is gone now.
Oh, okay.
Somehow I did not write down, and I have to check if this is actually in the magic items listing. Well, my range for my forge hammer, okay, 60. 20, 60. You know what? I don't want to get into this circle, so I'm gonna stay outside the circle, and I'm gonna chuck my lovely hammer straight at Kislar because I can.
A 24 will hit.
Great, so that is 7 overall.
So as you throw your hammer, it flies true and it strikes the skeleton and leaves really no any perceptible mark at all onto the skull at all, and it flies back to your hand.
Oh, I forgot to add to my damage because I didn't set up it as a magic weapon right. But, that is good to know anyway. I'll stay where I am for now, though.
Okay, that takes us to you, Guardian.
Stand up. And this inside the circle or no? Or am I going to get affected by it?
You are just outside of it.
Okay. Do a rage and then do a javelin throw.
Okay.
Two?
I'm sorry?
22?
Oh, did you roll? Oh.
Yep.
Okay. Roll 20 is being very slow. A 22 will hit.
It just 8 damage. It
Okay.
doesn't get the rage. And then second melee as well. I guess melee attack? Second attack? Extra attack. One more javelin throw. 16.
Okay, so let me describe what happens. And 16 does not hit, by the way. You throw your 2 javelins. They arc across, the room. The first javelin strikes the skeleton and just shatters into a cloud of dust. And then the second throw just misses him.
Okay.
Immediately after you do that, Guardian, it's the skeleton, I keep calling it skeleton, the skull. It's really just a skull. The skull rises from the throne and flies across the room, just the skull, and its eyes are glowing bright green as it does so. I believe that takes us to you, Virion.
Knocking an arrow and taking a shot at the skull as it comes at us.
A 25 will hit.
11, and we'll knock another arrow. Ooh.
A 28, a crit will hit.
Another 11 plus The penguins swarming on the skull, and they're just gonna try and get into those eyeballs just to see what's rattling around in that big ol' melon of his.
So what type of damage is the penguin damage at this point at level 7?
I believe it is piercing. Yeah.
So what happens is you fire your 2 arrows. The first arrow, as it strikes the skull, it turns to dust. The second arrow, it looks like it would probably hit the skull right in the eye, but again, as it gets close, right before it would strike the eye, it's turned immediately to dust. And then your penguins appear above the skull and begin to scratch at it briefly, and then they vanish, leaving again maybe no marks at all that you can see on it.
Perfect. Okay. That wraps up my turn, I think.
Takes us to you, Rogar.
How big is this skull?
It's a normal, like, elf-sized skull, so nothing very large.
Okay. So 30 feet should take me to here.
Okay.
And Rogar will attack with 2 swings of his battle axe.
Okay. A 13 does not hit. A 24 does.
Okay, and Rogar will use a 1st level Divine Smite on this attack. So 7 points of slashing damage. And 14 radiant damage.
So as you strike this skull, your second strike manages to actually land on it. You feel the blow, like the axe itself, being pushed away from the skull as you go to strike it. Now, as that happens, you release that radiant energy that you're releasing upon it, and there's a kind of a screeching sound from the skull as that happens, but you can't really tell that your strike actually did anything to it at all.
Great. As a bonus action, Rogar will be using Misty Step.
Okay.
So as he strikes that second strike, and the radiant energy bursts forth and almost blinds anyone that's nearby, suddenly Rogar disappears in a cloud of silvery smoke and reappears to the right of Laja.
Immediately as you appear beside Laja Rogar, the skull turns slowly towards you. Its eyes glow even brighter, and it says something in an arcane language that you're unfamiliar with. Give me a wisdom saving throw, please.
Okay, just remember that this is plus an additional +3 because
Okay.
of my aura of protection.
Okay. That is enough. You feel the beginnings of a curse being leveled upon you, but your aura and then also maybe your faith, you were able to steel yourself and negate the effects of the curse at all. But you felt that it was trying to draw something from you with this, but it failed.
Ah, evil creature! I do not understand this language you speak.
And moving on to the next turn. The skull hovers closer and closer to all of you. And let's see, Rorgar, Laja, and Virian, if you can all give me a Constitution saving throw, please.
So Laja will get a bonus +3.
So that would be a 19.
And I also get the bonus +3.
All of you have managed to save, but you feel the effects of this thing. So what happens is you're all covered like in a very thin glow of green that quickly fades away, and you feel that Rorgar's protective aura is blocked most of this from you. But Laja, what you felt a moment before Rorgar's protection kicked in was this thing trying to draw life from you back into itself, but you've all managed to resist the effects. With that, that will take us back to the top of the round. Let's see if I can get everyone to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Laja and Guardian will get a +3 from me. And I also get a +3.
Is this something I can see?
No.
I'm gonna just use my. Oh, okay, never mind. My inspiration does nothing.
Oh, Guardian's fine. So I've got I've got Laja with a 9, I've got Virian with a 14, Rorgar with a 7, and Guardian with a 21. So everyone but Guardian has failed. So all of you fall prone to the ground, because what happens is this entire room, as far as you can tell, the entire keep that's built into this mountain begins to shake violently. Like dust and large blocks of ice fall from the ceiling, but you are all thrown to the ground and you are all prone. But we move to you, Laja.
That's fine. I wasn't gonna run away. I'll get up to standing. And I'm going to use one of my lovely channeled divinities. So that will be a well, I don't know. That's not total cover. So that would be a DC 15 Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
So that would be 16 total, halved if they make it.
All right. So what happens is you raise your shield, your holy symbol, say a prayer to Lathander. The shield grows brighter and brighter, and there's a blast of radiance. But as it glows brighter, it feels duller than it's ever been. And in fact, as you begin to release this power onto the skull that's right in front of you, Laja, you feel for a minute that maybe your connection to Lathander has been broken, or it's not as strong. And the light, although it goes out and it consumes the skull, doesn't seem to do anything at all to it.
Good to know. I'm gonna, I could risk the attack of opportunity, but I don't know if I want to. I guess no. I'll stay here. I'll take my chances.
And we move on to you, Guardian.
Well, he's gotten closer. Take a step forward. I'm already raging. I got a maul in hand. Reckless. Actually, no, I don't have to. I can shimmy up to here. Would that be advantage?
Yes, it would be.
Cool.
Well, maybe not. I think you need to be one more. Yeah, there you go.
I thought I was close enough. Alright, yep. Now I have advantage from flanking. Double attack maul. Okay, it's a whiff.
Your maul, as you go to strike the skull, you have a good solid hit. You know this should be a hit. But as it strikes the skull, it's turned away, dealing no damage.
Alright. Yeah, that's my turn.
And immediately after you do this strike, You feel a cold pass right through you, Guardian. If you can give me a Constitution save, please.
Uh, 11.
So at 11, what happens is this glow, you've seen it in a similar form before, but you were consumed by green glow. And as it pulls, the glow pulls away from you, you feel yourself weakened. Your hit point total is reduced by 10. And you, yeah, that's all.
Do I lose 10 health or I just lose the total?
You lose,
maximum?
your maximum has been reduced by 10.
That's including the +3. Oh no, he's out of that actually. Never mind.
Alright, still have 82 health.
So that's a thing that bypasses rage, all that. It's just reduced your total by 10.
Cool.
But the glow that's the green energy that's pulled from you goes back into this to Kislar, into the skull that's floating in front of you, and its eyes, even though it's turned away from you, you can see it glowing even brighter than before. And we go on to Virion.
Okay, Virion is going to pull out the Moonblade after the dismal outing with the longbow. Pull up beside Laja here and take a big old crack with the Moonblade.
An 8 will not hit it.
And we'll try and swing at the skull again with the Moonblade.
A 16 will not hit.
Oh my god. And we will cower, waiting for retribution.
And after you miss, Virion, you notice that the wind that's been blowing in this room picks up and even blows even faster, even louder. And as it does, it kicks up a lot of the snow and the dust in the room. And I need, actually, all of you to roll a Constitution save for me, please.
Virion and Laja will get a +3. And Rorgar.
I don't know if that's going to help.
I think we just need a save from Guardian. All right, so everyone but Virion, the cloud that has risen up from this increased wind blowing into the room has blinded all of you. So you are blinded until the next time that Kislar takes a turn. So that really is going to only really matter much for Rorgar. Rorgar, you can't do a save, but Laja and Guardian, Laja and Guardian, you'll be able to make a save on your turn when it comes up. But Rorgar, you are blinded. And in fact, it's actually your turn, Rorgar. So blinded, as just a reminder, means you can't see. You automatically fail any ability check that requires sight. Also, attack rolls against you have advantage, and any attacks that you make have disadvantage.
Okay. Well, as a bonus action, I will use. Sorry, I won't, because I don't have this as a personal ability. But Rorgar will use his Vow of Enmity. Oh, wait, I can't. I have to see the creature. That's pretty funny. Rorgar will move to here and make 2 attacks against this skull.
Okay.
So I assume since I'm flanking it, it'll negate the disadvantage.
Yeah, just a normal roll. A 10 will not hit. Nor will a 13.
And then with the remaining movement, Rogar will move to here.
Okay.
That's it.
So the skull, after you miss it, Rogar, doesn't really pay you any attention, but it turns slowly towards you, Virion, and a beam of green energy shoots out from its eyes at you. If you can give me a Constitution save, please.
Mm-hmm.
And add 3 to that.
So
It doesn't require sight for my bonus.
So 17 then.
So the beam of energy, as it strikes you, Virion, it arcs over to you, Laja, and to you, Rogar, as well. If you can also, the two of you, give me a Constitution saving throw.
And we both had 3.
So all three of you have all taken 21 necrotic damage.
God.
And what happens is, as this beam of energy arcs off of Virion onto all three of you, it then completes itself back to the skull, and you all feel noticeably weaker as you see the light of the skull's eyes grow brighter and brighter. Well, I guess everyone doesn't see that because Rogar and Laja, you two are blinded, right?
Unfortunately.
But we move on to you, Laja, and I think first if you could make a saving throw for me. Let's see.
Plus
It's
3.
a con saving throw to see if you if you break out of this blindness. And in fact, you do.
Great. So I will see it. It looks noticeably stronger than it did a moment ago. Correct?
Yes.
Great. I'm going to disengage and back away. However, I will help my team with a lovely mass healing word for 5 points of healing on the people who are missing HP.
Before that, though, as you begin to cast your spell again, saying forth the words that would heal everyone, the skull says something, again, in an arcane language you do not know, and your spell dies before it even completes, before you even finish the incantation, and nothing happens.
Josh, I'm going to fight you.
Would using a spell within close combat range invoke attack of opportunity?
I don't think so. It's a bonus action and it's instant, so I don't think there's a chance. It maybe if he had concentration, but I don't think even in like he's not making an attack roll, so there's nothing to stop.
No, now that I think about it, I think you need a feat for that.
If only. Well, you know what? I'm still several feet away, so I have done what I need to do.
You all remember how I said this was a very hard encounter?
I don't know if I remember that.
We go on to Guardian.
Just gonna whack him twice. I'll shift down here so I have advantage. Whoops.
I'll just take the first.
20 and 24.
Yeah, I'll take the first two. So again, as you strike this thing with your maul, you have two solid hits that should just splinter the bone as it has, the other skeletons. But at the last moment, your hammer is turned away.
Okay. Yards is gonna look at everyone else. Time to run.
But first of all, Virion, moving on to your turn, if you can give me that Constitution save, please, to see if you kick off the blindness. You do, actually. 23. You can blink your eyes, and the dust and the snow and the ice that had been blinding you before goes away, and you can clearly see the skull that's floating right next to you.
Perfect. I'll snap out of it, hear Guardian say we need to run, also see where Guardian is and see the skull there, and I'm going to take one swipe with the Moonblade with advantage there.
A 18 will not hit.
All right then. For my second... Oh wait, I don't get 2 actions. I just get 2 attacks, right?
Yeah.
Then since I'm stuck here anyways, I will take another swing with the Moonblade. And cool.
And again,
That's-
an 18 doesn't hit.
All right. And we're hanging out then.
You can disengage.
That's an action, is it not?
Yeah.
You can still move away. You just won't get to disengage.
Yeah.
Is that he'll get an attack of opportunity?
He's going to get an attack in 2 turns, anyways.
He will get an attack of opportunity, yeah, if you move away.
If he even has an attack, all he's done is make us make saves. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. I'll risk it. Why not? I'll take my 30 feet and see what happens.
As you move away, I need you, Ythryn, to make another Constitution save for me, please. Oh dear. All right, Rogar and Guardian, the same, please.
$23.
So Guardian, you're fine, but Rogar and Ythryn, this is what happens. Ythryn, as you begin to move away, it does what it did before, and a beam of energy zaps out of its eyes and strikes you, and then arcs over to you, Rogar, and you both take 21 necrotic damage.
And that's a wrap on Ythryn.
So I think since you took the damage as you were moving, yeah, we're going to have to move you back to where you were. And right after that, both of you, Rogar and Guardian, are covered again in this fog of green energy as this thing is trying to pull more from you. If you can give me, you guessed, another con saving throw, please.
So that's also including a +3 to Guardian and Rogar.
Okay, so Rogar has a 17 and Guardian has a 14.
Yeah.
Okay, so Guardian, your hit point maximum has again been reduced by 10. But we move on to Rogar's turn.
Okay. As a bonus action, Rogar will again turn into a silvery mist and reappear here. As an action, he will use Lay on Hands and give Ythryn 25 points of healing. And then, heeding Guardian's words, he will run to here.
Rogar, I don't know if I made you do the save to see if you kicked your blindness, but if I didn't, now is the time to do that.
What save is it?
It's a con save. Yep, 22 will certainly do it.
He's running on sound anyways, so he's rubbing the sight back into his eyes as he's doing all this. But yeah, Rogar will give healing to Virion, and then he'll take Guardian's word for it and get out of here.
As you disappear, Rogar, and appear, on the other side of this doorway, you look back, and the skull is beginning to move at you. So, Virion and Guardian, attack of opportunities if you'd like. 16 is a miss, unfortunately. And so is a 19.
Oh my god.
But Laja, as you look up, the skull is actually coming right at you. Actually, Laja, if you can give me a... trying to decide here. Why don't we make it a... why don't you give me a religion check?
Sure, let's do that.
Okay. So you noticed as you've been watching Guardian attack this thing, and that's before it comes screaming at you, you notice a Guardian has been landing lots of attacks on this thing that have been doing nothing. And it kind of altogether comes into your mind what you've seen happen. When you threw your hammer did something, even though it didn't seem to do much. Virion's attacks also did nothing. Apart from when Rorgar hit him, what you've been able to assemble in your mind is that the non-magical weapons you're carrying seem to do nothing to this thing.
I feel like it would probably be too much for me to reach in my bag and grab the chain. I feel like that is something that I cannot do as a free action.
You can. I'd let you. How about this? I'd let you spend half of your movement on your turn to fish through your bag and find it, because I don't think you would have had it readily at hand, would you?
Because I feel like we agreed not to use this, and therefore it is not like near the top. Like, here you go, here's some rope. Here is a magical X cursed chain.
Yeah.
We just need to run.
Are you sure?
We are so beat up from this thing, and to get like a magical weapon on it now it's gonna chip away at us.
Okay, and is the door where Rogar is that open or not?
Yeah, that was open when you all came in the room.
Okay, just making sure it was not like knocked closed by this terrible, terrible skull.
No, not yet, but we're going to see what the terrible skull does next, because it's its turn.
Yep.
Laja, as the skull has been beaming down towards you, if you can give me a con saving throw, please.
Yeah, you gotta move off of its turn.
Yep. You managed to resist its attack upon you. It looks like it was probably trying to do similar to what it did to Viri before. But you probably shore up your belief in Lathander and managed to resist any sort of attack that it's got on you, but it's still very close. But it takes us to your turn.
We all know the playbook by now. Disengage and run away. There we go. I'm not gonna try a heal right now because it's not gonna work. So I'll save them. I think that's all I can do. I don't have any extra bonus actions.
As you move away, it continues to follow. I'm taking us to you, Guardian.
So, go here, and then I'm going to swerve around the front. So I'm still within influence. And I'm just going to try and body block it. I will attempt to whack it twice. Recklessly, for advantage.
23 would hit, a 12 would not. But again, as you strike it with your maul is pushed aside and does no damage to it.
Yep.
Just as that happens, Guardian, you can make an attack of opportunity, but it moves around you to this position. Again, well, actually a 19 will miss. But I believe that takes us to Virion.
Virion is just going to use a full dash action here and just run as far as possible, I guess.
All right. I think we move to you, Rogar.
Okay, Rorgar will make 2 attacks. Actually, first I'd like to move to here. Will that give me advantage?
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, it will. Now Rorgar will make 2 attacks.
A 25 hits.
And Rorgar will use a Divine Smite level 1 on this attack. So only four points of radiant damage on that one.
Okay. 21 hits.
So 9 points of slashing. And again, Divine Smite, 7 points of radiant damage.
And your strikes with your axe are turned aside much in the way that Guardians have been, but your Divine Smites, that radiant damage, again hits the skull, and it actually lets out kind of a scream as each of those blows, just the as it's covered in sort of your golden light of your divine belief and everything. It does manage to seem to get through and do something to this thing.
Yeah, I was really fishing for critical hits there, though. As a bonus action, I'll use my last 2nd level spell and Misty Step 30 feet away.
Okay. Where are you moving to?
Right there.
All right. So as we begin the next round, all throughout this chamber, and in fact the entire keep, it gets like 3 or 4 levels darker. So as you were walking through the keep to begin with, there was the lights of like the campfires or the different torches that were frozen, sort of like in burning. They were solidly frozen. You can actually see the flames in crystallized, but they did still provide light. But it was sort of a dim light. But what happens now is inside, the light just seems to be sucked from those torches out of those fireplaces, and everything gets noticeably darker. It's still, you can still see, but it's even more difficult. But what the effect that happens is Laja, Guardian, and Rorgar. Until the next round, none of you can regain any hit points.
Like that matters right now.
Virion, you are far enough away, but Rorgar, Laja, and Guardian. But on this creature's turn, Guardian and Laja, if you can give me a con saving throw. Everything this thing does is con, by the way, if you haven't figured that out by now. And you are both fine as it begins to, it's kind of pointed right at you, Laja, and it does that thing that it does before where like a beam of energy comes out of its eyes, but you step aside very cautiously and it just like hits the chair that was next to you. But it's your turn, Laja.
You know what? Maybe I missed that because I'm actively running away. That is what is happening. I'm leaving it behind as it shoots at me. And you know what? I have an action because I'm going to wait to see what other people are going to do first. So why not? Let's just throw a Sacred Flame out there.
Okay. I need to do a save.
Fail it. Fail.
Actually, I did fail.
12 radiant damage.
I think that's more than I did combined last turn. 2 attacks.
We love to see it. Once for Sacred Flame to work.
So all of once, the skull is consumed in the golden fire of your sacred flame. It lets out a screech as the flame vanishes. It's still floating there in the air. It's still, doing its whole glowing thing. But you do have a feeling that whatever you just did actually, did something to it. But it takes us to Guardian.
The doors. What side is it on?
I think by the way this room is laid out, like with those chairs being so close, the doors probably have to open into the throne room instead of out, because that would be weird. So I think the doors are opened now, so like they go.
I'm just gonna grab this thing. I'm just gonna do a grapple on it.
Like that, if that makes any sense. They're probably opening out. Sure, go for a grapple.
Just what? It's an athletics or is that just attack?
That's an athletics, and it's an opposed check. I rolled a 12, so you've managed to grab it.
And how does moving work with a grapple?
I think it's halved.
Let me double check. Yeah, it's half of your movement speed, and it moves with you.
That's good.
Unless the creature is 2 or more sizes smaller than you, and you said it's just a skull.
You know what? Yeah, I'll rule that Guardian, you can move your full movement.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna grab him and pull him here.
I thought you were going to tell me that you put him in your pocket.
Nope. I gotta pull him back into the room deeper.
I think we go to you, Virion.
I guess I'll just take my 30 feet of movement here. And that's about it. Actually, I'm going to try and cast Cure Wounds on myself.
Okay.
And see what happens. 1d8 plus 1. 9.
Max heal, that's good.
Any negative effects from trying to heal here?
No, nothing terrible happens to you. You manage to draw into your power and heal yourself. That takes us to you, Rogar.
Well, shit. Is Guardian saying anything as he's pulling this skull backwards?
Get over here, you little shit. That's what he's saying.
I think Rorgal will just move to here. And he will hold his action as an attack in case anything gets close enough.
Okay. All right. So moving back to the creature's turn, Kislar. Guardian, give me a Constitution save, please. 24 is good. So as you're dragging this thing into the room and you get towards, kind of where you are, it lets out a loud howl. And to everyone else in the adjoining room, it is so loud that you immediately cover your ears. Some of the chairs that are close to the door around this round table that you're on immediately shatter from the sound. Guardian, you are frightened until the end of your next turn. The frightened condition is... Let's see, you have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls so long as this thing is in your line of sight. And you can't willingly move closer to it, which, since there's that, I'm going to say that probably ends your grapple.
Okay.
You are frightened of it. But since we are starting the next round, that means Laja, Rorgar, and Guardian, you can now be healed, whereas before you weren't able to. But taking us to you, Laja.
You know what? I'm gonna do something probably not well advised, but I will drop it outside of Guardian's range because there's nobody else around there. Gonna do a little fireball. Why not?
Nice.
I'm not gonna draw that on the map. I can drop that anywhere where it's not touching Guardian.
Okay. So it did succeed on its save.
So that's half.
So 12, fire. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Fire.
So one of these things it can do, but your spell, your fireball enters the room through the open doors, detonates, right in front of Guardian, basically. There's a blast of hot air that kind of blasts back into the room that you're in. And the skull just, it's like one of those scenes where there's just fire, and then coming out of the fire is the skull, completely unharmed.
I hate this skull. Well, the other thing that I am doing, as expected, is moving. I'm so sorry, Guardian.
It's okay.
I tried to blow it up for you.
Laja, now that you are kind of where you are, you see the room that's to the north of where Laja is currently in. It looks like a storeroom of some kind, and you see all sorts of bags and looks like old cutlery and stuff, but it looks like a large storeroom.
Just like an average kitchen-esque storeroom.
From where you can see, it looks like a very large pantry, perhaps storage of things.
Okay, good to know.
I think we move to you, Guardian.
Okay, so frightened is what again?
Frightened means that you have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls as long as you can see this thing, and you can see it, and you can't willingly move closer to it.
So I have to move away from it then.
If you want to move, you can stay there.
Yeah, fine. Just gonna. Can I go around it? Or is that gonna be against Fearless or
I
Fright?
think, tell me where you would go, and we'll figure that out.
I wanna go towards the doors.
Towards the doors, that I'd count that as away from it, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna close the doors.
And the rest of you, you see Guardian push the two large doors close. Yeah, you can no longer see into the room.
And I'm going to use the maul. Is there like the handles on the doors or anything like that?
I think there would be, yeah.
Yeah, I'm using the maul just to put it behind the handles there to prevent the door from opening.
Okay.
That's my turn.
And as you do that, the skull moves closer to you. And we move to you, Ythryn. You no longer have line of sight of Guardian or Kislar anymore, though, because he just closed the doors.
All right. Oh, geez. I, for some reason, thought that Guardian closed the doors on the outside. This is okay. I guess I'm gonna go into this room with Laja. Just use my 30 feet. And that'll do it.
And Ythryn, as you walk into this room, you see into the same storeroom that I was describing for Laja. And from your perspective, you can see, like I was saying, it's mostly old cutlery, bowls, plates, and stuff. And in the corner, you do see a bunch of books and scrolls. It looks like probably like this corner.
Okay.
But moving on to you, Rogar.
I can't see the creature anymore. And I don't think Rorgar knows what everyone else is doing, so I think Rorgar will use lay on hands on himself to heal 9 hit points and just move 10 feet into the other room.
Okay.
So I have 1 point of lay on hands remaining, and that's it.
The entire fortress begins to shake again, much like it did before. And again, dust and pieces of snow and ice fall from the ceiling as this happens. Everyone, if you can give me a dex save, please.
So Laja will get the +3 from Brogar.
I think for you, Guardian, because you're still frightened, that it will just cancel out your advantage.
No.
So let's see. Virian, Rorgar, and Guardian, you are all knocked prone.
Right.
In this room that you're in, Laja, Rorgar, and Virian, as the ground shakes, the plates and bowls and stuff on these tables fall off. Actually, some of the tables fall over. The torches that are frozen on the wall, many of them just like crack and just crumble into piles of ice on the ground. But moving on to Kislar. Kislar turns to you, Guardian, prone on the ground. If you can give me a Constitution save at disadvantage, please. A 16, unfortunately, does not help you here. As another one of those beams comes out of its eyes and strikes you there on the ground, you take 21 necrotic damage.
Oh well, I'm still raging, so half.
It also moves closer. But we're on Laja's turn.
I hate that Guardian has locked us out, and I don't know what else to do in this situation. I'm not gonna like dash because I don't want to leave everybody behind. I'm just gonna, encourage people to leave. Just gently encourage people. That will be my turn.
And we go back to you, Guardian.
Guardian's going to stand up, rotate his right arm a little bit, and he is going to go and grab his great club and whack at the... Oh no, is he still frightened? How long does that last?
The end of your next turn, so you are frightened currently. You can attack it still, though, if you wanted to. You just have a disadvantage.
I'll recklessly attack it then.
Okay.
Do great club. It's going to do no damage anyways, but it's just trying to whack at it.
I think, to let you know, both of those would have hit it, but as before, your club is pushed aside as it strikes this thing.
And everyone hears the normal battle cry of Guardian, like everything's normal in there. And that's his turn.
After you do this, first, can you roll a Constitution save for me, please? When you know. Yeah, I should have mentioned that would be a disadvantage because you were frightened.
And
So,
it's 12.
sort of what happened before, your body is covered in a green glow, and the glow is sucked out of you back into the skull, and your hit point total is reduced again by 10.
Back to full, technically.
On to you, Virian.
Okay, I guess after seeing the doors close and not seeing Guardian come through our way at all, I wanted to head in here and kind of just like panic search through the books and scrolls to see if I can kind of find anything that gives us some information about the skull and if there's any way we can actually stop it.
I probably wouldn't normally make you roll, but I think since we're in combat, it's something that needs a roll. If you can give me an investigation check for me, please.
Absolutely. Ooh, not a great stat for me, but
That's a very good roll.
mm.
As you're looking through, what you find is lots of ancient, I should call them ancient because they're so old, plates and bowls and stuff. Like if you were a collector of old artifacts, this might be something that would be useful if you weren't being chased by a terrible, undead lich. But you manage to like push this aside, and you see piles of knives and forks and things like that. Very ornate, very consistent with the moon theme. These are probably stuff that was stored and brought out in special occasions, but you push back like cookbooks and things and just move on. And in the back, you notice a book covered in white. It's like bound in a white fur, and you pull that out, and it has particular interest because it stands out so much. And as you grab it and you look on the outside, you notice there is it's got a silver clasp that's keeping it closed.
I want to take my moonblade and try and like stab at the lock or anything, or pry the clasp off with it.
Well, it's actually not locked at all, but
Okay.
you're extra protected here with the moonblade. Just helps you open it, I suppose. So like I said before, it's tall, it's a thin book, and as you open it up, that you are touching the fur, and it feels like the soft fur of like a bear or something, but it's a white fur. As the book opened, you see it's full of pages. There's about 27 pages inside, and they're a type of vellum, and the writing is in like a silver ink. The book is actually very, very cold to the touch for some reason, even though it's just a fur. And the whole thing is sewn to a leather binding, and there's strips of sinew on around the binding as well. Are you going to read it, or are you just what are you doing here as you open it?
If I have time to read it, I mean, if this is taking too long for one turn, we can always circle back to it. But yeah, I'd like to start leafing through it kind of quickly to see if anything catches my eye.
Immediately as you open on the first page, there's the symbol of Oral, and underneath it is scrawled out into it looks like Elvish, but it says the Codicil of White.
Okay.
And I think that's probably all you could get on your turn.
Yeah.
If you wanted to investigate more like at the inside, that would be a little more of a detailed look that would probably take more time.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Taking us to you, Rogar.
Rogar will move to there and then hold his attack in case anything gets close enough to attack.
Okay. And after that, before it becomes Gizlar's turn, actually, no, we're not going to do that. We'll just go straight to his turn. The skull floating over you, Guardian. If you can make, you guessed, a Constitution save, please. Which is no longer advantage because you no longer have disadvantage because you're no longer frightened.
Okay.
Yep, you resist the effects from whatever. Actually, no, you rolled a 14. You did not resist the effects of this thing. It does like it did before. A beam of green energy comes out of its eyes and strikes you, and you take 21 necrotic damage.
I'm good.
And I think it's gonna... start to try to move around you as it seems to get closer to the door. But Laja, it is your turn.
Laja is going to yell out, Virian, are you coming with us?
Yep, just doing some light reading.
Do you need help?
Virion will shamefully whisper to himself, I wish I knew how to read. And then just shout back, no, I'm coming.
Okay, this is somehow the biggest surprise of the session. Somehow. Well, if Virian is coming with us, then I will believe him, and just I'm gonna very cautiously look out, see if there's anything outside, because there were weird skeletons inside that area. So are there any weird skeletons outside that area?
You don't see any skeletons, but you also don't see Suzanne.
Okay, not ideal. Roragar, do you know where Suzanne is?
It is not my turn, so I do not.
Sorry, Wargar, as you try to communicate with Suzanne, you actually feel something blocking you. You don't think she's injured or dead, because that would probably be something different, but you don't seem to be able to communicate with her.
Interesting. Well, if there is nothing out here, even if we do not have our good dragon friend, I will at least feel safe enough to walk out the door. Not that that was much further than where it was, but, a little bit counts.
I'm gonna grapple him again.
Okay.
Since I'm not frightened, I actually have advantage because I'm raging.
All right. He rolled a 12 also. I'm curious on a tie who it goes to.
Technically, I'm attacking, and usually if I'm attacking and I hit the AC, the attack still goes through. Isn't it? Yeah.
I will give it on a tie. I'll give it to you, the attacker. Yeah, I'll give it to you. So you got him.
Just gonna grab him and I'm like, get over here, you little useless paperweight. Gonna walk one. 8. There you go. I'm just pulling him with me.
As you drag him, a voice enters your mind, Guardian, and it says, aren't you tired? Would you like to sleep? I can give you the rest that you have been hoping for centuries.
Blah, blah, blah. Paperweight that can't be used. That's my turn.
All right, Virion.
Virion is going to run out to where Laja and Rorgar are.
Okay.
Or at least try. Actually, I'll take the full dash here. I think that was close.
And we go to you, Rogar.
I think Rogar will move his 30 feet and then, as an action, prepare to attack anything that gets close.
Okay.
Okay.
And Laja and Rogar, as you walk out into the courtyard, you notice Suzanne is missing. You don't know where she went. And like I said, you still don't have that contact with her, Rogar. And in fact, the snow here in the courtyard seems very still. It's not been disturbed by anything inside of the keep, even though the keep has been shaking on the inside, and things have been falling and all that. Outside, it's just very quiet and very serene. And in fact, you don't hear the wind blowing or anything at all. About this time, there's like a giant statue of an eagle here. And moving from behind that statue is Sefik. He kind of walks lazily around it, and he looks at you, Laja, and he says, "Well, sister, do you have the book yet?"
Do you really have to do this now?
He closes his glowing blue eyes, and he says, "I can tell you don't have it." And he opens his eyes and looks at you, Rogar, and he says, "You, I will spare your life if you get the book for me."
Friend, where is it?
It is, of course, inside. That was your quest, wasn't it? To retrieve the book. That's all I'm interested in. If you give me the book, of course I'll have to kill Laja here. But I'll take the book and allow you to live.
Well, if that is the bargain that is to be struck, I respectfully have to decline. Sorry, friend, I cannot make the deal.
He says, "I can still take the book off of your corpse. I'm just asking you to make this easier."
Oh, my corpse will not have the book on it. I do not own it, so...
Why would you be leaving if you don't have the book? That's why you're here.
There is some sort of floating skull demon inside. Our friend Guardian has decided to face it one-on-one, and we have respectfully given him his space. If you would like, you could go and ask Guardian to retrieve this book for you. He seems the one most active in the recovery of the book at the moment.
At this point, I'm not sure that it's worth looking through this place. I guess that's not what any of us want to hear, but I I don't think it is safe.
And he says, "That is a shame, sister, because if you don't have the book, then your usefulness to me is at an end." And as he walks forward, he kind of continues to step forward, but as he does, an image of him stays in the place that it was, and he does this several times.
Wait, is it still my turn?
It is still your turn, yes.
So before that happens, can I... Because I was going to use this on the floating skull thing. I would like to use my channel divinity to abjure enemy.
Sure.
So it needs to make a wisdom saving throw. If it is undead or a fiend, it takes that as a disadvantage.
Okay, I was just reading it. So the special failure state depends on if it's fiend or undead.
Yeah, it'll be it's a disadvantage on the save.
Okay.
If it's fiend or undead.
And what's the save I'm shooting for?
14.
Okay. Yep. So as you channel your divinity, Wargar, what happens is Sefik, as he walks towards you, he still makes the copies of himself. But as you finish your channel, he pauses, he stops moving forward, and he looks at you with fear in his eyes, his glowing blue eyes.
Laja, maybe this is actually our time to run.
I mean, you're not wrong necessarily.
I think that will take us to Kislar. Back in his nice little throne room again with Guardian. So, Guardian, if you can give me a Constitution save, please. I don't believe you are at disadvantage. Yep, should just be a normal save. A 20 will save for you, and he begins to do the thing he did before. He lets out a beam of energy right at you, and you manage to avoid it.
While holding him in my hand.
Well, in your hand, maybe just like turning and pointing him away.
It's like the scene from The Boys where he's holding the baby with the laser eyes and he's just moving his head around to aim.
And we move to you, Lasha.
Okay, and right now, what is Sefik sort of doing?
So Sevik is frozen in fear. So based on what the channel divinity spell says, is he's frightened for 1 minute or until he takes any damage. His speed is 0 and can't benefit from any bonus to its speed. So he's just sort of frozen in fear.
And you don't have to answer this question. Would I think he would hit me if I pass him?
Probably.
Okay. It's good to check. Let's just go out of his reach. I can go that far. I'm just dashing really quickly on my tiny legs. Just like right around. Can't hit me if I'm not next to him.
And I think that would take us back to Guardian.
I'm just holding on to him. I'm gonna go sit down in the throne just to really BM him. I'm gonna sit in his throne while holding him. He's like, between you, Frosty Maiden, and the stupid children of her, and the cannibals, and the idiots of the towns, of course I am stuck helping. He just looks at the skull. He's like, you suck.
And Guardian, it replies with a curse of its own. And if you can do a wisdom saving throw for me, please.
Hey, there's the mind control.
So unfortunately, on an 8, it levels a curse on you. It's not mind control. You still have control of yourself. But basically, Kislar uses its power, and as you're holding it, you notice the skull gets heavier. You notice the the club that you were holding in your other hand also kind of gets heavier. Your motions get slower, and what that basically means is you have disadvantage on all attack rolls and saving throws. You can try to repeat the saving throw at the end of your turn, each of your turn, trying to end the curse. But until then, you have disadvantage on pretty much all the things.
Did I try and save now? Because it's going to be the end of my turn?
No. Your turn ended, then I did this. It'll be your next turn.
Okay.
So, Virian, you heard some nonsense about the book. That's probably all you were close enough to hear, but it's your turn.
After I've heard them talk about the book, I'm just going to tuck it in my pants a little bit. Or fully tuck it in my pants, I should say. And kind of run like a gremlin out into here. And
I'm picturing the gremlins from the movie.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is like too. And Oh man, I don't want to get stuck right beside them.
Yeah,
Apparently,
you
there's room behind the. There's
Oh,
room
is there
behind
room
here.
behind there as well? Okay.
Yeah.
come down the stairs and you see 4 copies of Sefik frozen, kind of in a recoiling state of fear.
Okay. Then I'm just gonna give a quick glance and use my dash action to get behind back here. And
He's like that for 10 turns, isn't he?
Yeah, 1 minute. Yeah.
okay, then just to be safe, though, I don't know what kind of roll he can do. I'm gonna run behind the statue, and that'll wrap me up there.
And that takes us to you, Rorgar.
I think with Sefik fearing Rorgar will just skirt around to about there. So that's action and movement.
Okay. So since we're moving at the end of the round here, I want to give Guardian a choice. Guardian, if you want, we can play out this combat with you against this thing. But since you've locked yourself in this room and you've pulled it far away, I'm assuming you're not trying to escape it. So I'm giving you the choice. We can retire Guardian. Basically, you can forfeit the fight, and we'll just end the combat here because the rest of everyone else could get away. Or we can keep fighting him.
Well, he's physical. I'm able to hold on to him.
Yep.
I'm gonna put him in a bag.
Okay, but I guess what I'm trying to get a sense from is Guardian trying to defeat this thing, or is he trying to just hang out here with him? Because if we played this for another, hour or 2 hours, eventually this thing is probably going to wear down Guardian if Guardian's just sitting here with it.
Yeah, no. What I'm trying to do is put it into a bag so I can try and get out too. I just wanted to delay
let's
as
definitely
long
play
as
through that
possible.
then. Yeah, okay.
Just gonna put it in a burlap sack for a moment.
Okay.
Is there a roll for that, or
When it's on your turn, I'll let you do it.
okay?
I was just asking because it's this thing's turn. And I was like, do we keep rolling through this, or what were you going for?
Well, I think because Sefik is afraid of Rorgar for a total minute, that means for 10 rounds, Virian, Laja, Rorgar can just continue to move away. So maybe we should just focus on Guardian here.
Yeah, if that's what you all are going to do with your characters, there's no need to continue on turns for them.
If that's what everyone else is doing, that's what Rorgar's doing.
And I got
I'm out.
pretty good. I got a pretty good movement speed, so I can catch up. Hopefully, we'll see what happens.
So I'm going to take Laja, Virian, and Rorgar off the board here. So what Kislar does... if you can do a con save for me, please. And I believe since you're cursed, it's at disadvantage.
Yay!
So the 9, he does the blast with his eye beams again that strikes you, and that's 21 necrotic damage. But takes us to you, Guardian.
I'm gonna shove him in a spare bag I have. I'm gonna shove him into the Valen bag.
The Valen bag, okay.
Just gonna shove him in there.
You've got him grappled. I don't think I'll make you do a roll for that.
Just gonna shove him in that. Throw him off to the side and then run towards the door.
Okay. Trying to think of how to do a throw here. I think you could probably do 30 feet.
Sure. I'll just
So
toss
why
him as
don't
far as
you tell
away
me
you
where
can.
it's going to go.
opposite direction of the door. So wherever that elf skeleton, yeah, somewhere's with that elf skeleton. He's just been watching this whole time, like, holy shit, he's just holding on to him.
He should be gone, so I just forgot to take a token. So you put Kislar, the Bane of Ythryn, the vile lich, into a sack, and you throw the sack across the room.
Oh, not just any sack, a puke sack.
The puke sack.
We'll just run over there, because that's pretty much it. I can't do anything else. I'm not a fighter. Can't action surge.
After your turn, I'm going to say what happens is the bag lands over on the other side of the throne room, and there's some motions, and the skull floats out of the opening of the bag into the air and moves towards you. But back to you, Guardian.
I just imagine like he's just like, I am the bed, and I go, no, don't put me in the bag. And the bag's just like ravaging against the ground like a cat, trying to find the exit. Slowly notices the light, floats on out, shakes a little bit, looks pissed off.
But it's all
yeah,
very sinister. I gotta stress that. It's very sinister.
Gonna look at the door and pull my maul out of the handles, open it, and then go through and close it.
You're gonna close it, okay?
Yeah. And well, I think I can get here because that's an action to open the door, I believe. Open and close.
Yes.
Okay. That'll be my turn now.
And on Kislar's turn.
Oh, am I supposed to be making saves?
Yes, for your curse. Do a wisdom save for me, please. 3 will not get you anywhere.
Did I make 2 because this is the second turn after he did that?
Sure, go for it. Yep, well, 1 will definitely not work either. But it's your turn.
So stupid. Yeah. 40. And I'm just getting my action to. Is it the double movement again?
I think you have enough lead on him that you could actually get out of the door. I think it's important though that as you walk down the steps, you see the 4 frozen forms of Sefik.
Just look at him like, Steven.
I think you've made it far enough here to where you could actually get away just before he unfreezes, if that's what you intend to do.
Yeah, I'll just look at him for a second as he's standing there, like, Steven. Nod to each one and I'll fuck off.
That's where we're going to end tonight, I think, because all of you would have made your way out of the keep, working your way down the cliff. I want
to see what the group says. I want to see them react to thinking Guardian's dead. He shows up later. I want to see that.
Sure, that'll be fun. Novalin.
I'll just go in the shadows.
Yeah, we're in tonight is all of you have made your way down the cliff, just down to the bottom, I'd say. So if you look above, off to the distance, you can see Ythryn at the frozen place. It's still very quiet outside. There's not even any wind blowing at all. You don't know what happened to Sefik Rorgar, but it's probably been 10 minutes since your spell will have expired.
It is a bit strange, friend, that Sefik has not followed us at this point. Maybe he has decided that the chase was not worth it. Or maybe whatever Guardian gave his life to slow down has also taken Sefik.
Guardian probably put up a good fight against Sefik too if Sefik tried to get in there and find the book.
for an undead creature. He was... Maybe I shouldn't even say that. He was a good person. And I wish we had been able to do more for him in this life.
I still have no idea what happened while we were there, or I don't know. I kind of worry that maybe we shouldn't have gone there to begin with. If we didn't even find what we were looking for, and now we don't even have Guardian anymore.
You cannot think that way, friend. We were led astray by Velen. She never did anything to make us believe otherwise.
I guess.
I do think I found the book that Cephik was talking about, and Ythryn will pull down his pants to make it easier to pull the book out, and we'll hand it over to Rorgar. Like, I gave it a quick read, but it might need some fresh eyes on it. I just want to get your take on it.
Is this book in Common or Dragonborn?
Ironically, as each of you look at the book, the language first looks like something you can't read, and then it jumbles up in front of your face into a language that you can read.
I'd like to ask: Are you guys all grouped together looking at this book in one go? Focused
Oh,
on the book?
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can
Oh,
sneak up behind us and
Yeah.
scare us.
Virian's totally holding it out in front of him, and Laja and Rorgar are literally looking over his shoulders.
Yeah, Ythryn is pants around his ankles, holding it, covering his crotch for Laja and Rorgar to read.
He didn't even pick up his pants.
No, he was very excited.
Oh, Varian.
They could tell.
We're gonna just skip right past that.
Guard will just mosey on up as you guys are reading things.
Where did you even find that? When did you have time to find that?
When that whole area shook, I noticed some books and scrolls, and I figured it'd probably be the only chance we got to take a look for anything, so I did some antiquing while I was there.
I think if Guardian was here, he would definitely call you a nerd for reading these books.
Yeah. Oh, Guardian, do you want to read this book?
Yeah, what's it say?
Guardian?
What?
Hello.
As Laja turns around very quickly, they just fall in the snow. Just like, what? What? Like that red panda that gets scared by the person who's stepping behind it. Just like that.
Are you okay?
Much better now.
You should pull up your pants. It's cold out.
Not before I give you a hug, big guy.
I'm made of metal.
And Ythryn will walk over and...
It's not even walk, he has to shuffle over.
Yeah, he will very sadly shuffle over. It takes some time to travel the 10 feet. But he makes it there, and he hugs the leg of Guardian.
Guardian, how did you make it past that floating skull? And Cephik, he was there. How did you make it past him?
Oh, I grabbed the skull, put him in a burlap sack, the one that Valen puked in a bunch of times, and then threw it across the room and walked out. And then I saw Steven. I said hi to all four of them.
It's Cephik, but that's okay.
No, it's Steven. He looks like a Steven.
And he couldn't even come at you?
He looked rather annoyed and scared. So everyone should look at me.
Huh. That is actually that is inspiring. Maybe I have a little more power than I thought. But more than that, I am grateful to see you here, friend, because we definitely need you if we are to have any success on these hell plains of ice that we find ourselves on.
I've been thinking about that. He looks at Elijah. He's like, you might have to deal with grumpy me again if I put that chain back on, but I might be able to do something.
I mean, if you are okay with that.
I personally don't like being made angrier than normal. But it has proven useful against these floaty types.
Well, I guess I can just be prepared in case, you are not feeling well, and we can take it how it goes.
I think it'll be fine. So we're going to rest up and go back and try tomorrow. If it doesn't work, I can put him back in another burlap sack and throw him across the room. Actually, why don't we just do that in the first place? Put him in a bag and then stick him in the river.
What is our plan going back there?
Now, kicking his ass. He deserves it. I think he killed the king. That
Is
place
this,
brought back a bunch of memories.
Is this someone you used to know?
I think I used to live here. Or I was made here. It's confusing.
Well, I guess that now kind of makes sense that you're speaker of a town here. At least you're from here.
Yes. It would be good, though, to clean up the old home.
If we know what we're running into, if we know what we're facing, I'm much more confident that we'll have a chance to kill it. I know I have the ability to hurt this creature. And if we know what we're facing, I think you all know how to hurt it too.
Plus, if we leave it alone, it's just gonna do something stupid and people are gonna die, and we'll be asked to go and deal with it at some point.
Yes, that seems to be the whole reality of Icewind Dale.
Yep. Kill the thing when you get the chance.
I'm worried if we head back there, if Sefik sees us looking around in there again, he is going to assume that we went back to find this book.
Oh, don't worry. For Steven, I plan to give him some internal flossing with that chain.
Does Rorgar know that the book Virion has is the actual book we're looking for?
You never actually got. You think it is, like, it's calling itself that. Like, there's letters, underneath the symbol of Oral that says the code of Seal of White, and as you flip through it, there seems to be all sorts of prayers and stuff to Oral, and it's kind of like it's like a handbook on how to be a follower of Oral.
Could I make an Arcana check to check?
Sure. Actually, why don't you do it a religion? This is more of a religious thing.
Oh, religion was, I think, different. See? It's different.
It's made for the followers of Oral, which you know nothing about.
I might as well burn my inspiration and roll it again.
Can I grab the chain from Laja?
You can. Yep.
Yeah.
So, Rogar, as you're flipping through this book, you find some of the things that you heard from the Professor Stone. Like, it was talking about what this book would do, and it said, like, when you could enter the island, of Grimskull and that Auril would not detect you. You actually find a prayer that does that, or at least is talking about like if you proclaim yourself as a follower of Auril, that she basically won't pay attention to you on the island. And then you actually come across one prayer that will actually call her to you on the island. At least that's what it claims.
Friends, this book is legit. We can use this to say that we are followers of Auril and bring her to us when we're on her island. Ythryn, you have done an incredible service for us. Thank you. Thank you, friend.
Kurt's gonna look at Varian for a second, still knows he has to pull his pants, just lean down, grab his pants for him, pull him up. That's how you get a cold.
Always looking out for us.
And as he takes the chain from Elijah, it's the first time he's seen it since it's been removed. He just looks at it, holds it, and leans in like, I'm gonna put it back on. Mess with me, I'm gonna find a way to destroy you. And then he's gonna re-equip it.
Did you put the chain on, Guardian? It doesn't seem to make you angry. It doesn't do the thing where it did before. It wrapped tightly around your arm. As you pick it up, it does kind of circle your arm so that it's, you don't have to necessarily hold on to it as much, but it's not like squeezing your arm like it was before. Before it was even gouges in the metal on your arms, the metal part of your gauntlet and everything, but it's not doing that anymore. And in fact, you don't feel the pain from holding it, and it's not creating that tension inside of you like it was before.
I feel something different. What's that? Wait till they're all asleep? Yes. You should all get some rest now. I will just look at you guys for a moment and then softly laugh like, that is a joke.
Friend, I don't understand jokes that well, but I could use a nice night of sleep.
Yeah, sleep sounds good.
Guy just reaches out and pats Rogue on the head.
Oh, careful. My skin is a bit sensitive back there as I've aged so much.
Just look at you for a second like, I will pat you gently then.
It is appreciated, especially after this day. I could use some friendly pats on the head.
It was good to see you guys follow directions pretty quickly. You ran it really well.
Know this, friend. Next time, I may be less willing. Because I feel like next time we will destroy this skull.
Indeed. Get some rest. I'll stay and watch.
I want to say while the three of them are having that moment, Elijah has taken the book and sat in front of the fire and is just sort of looking at it. Just a quiet moment of thought while they are having this discussion.
Yeah, and also before we rest, I will use Cure Wounds level 1 on Guardian.
Elijah, this is the prayer that you uncover, the one that you're pretty sure that if you read it aloud on the island of Grimskull, it would actually call Auril to you.
I will fold over the corner of the page just in case we need to find it.